Good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, support each of you. But really, what we're here to get together about is accessing funding to start or grow a business. And we're very fortunate that we received a new grant, an additional grant that is allowing us to roll out officially today the free entrepreneurship funding program, if I can spit that out. So our 501c3 nonprofit is called 509 Pacific. I'm on the 509 Pacific website. When you go first to 509 Pacific, we scroll down, there's information about the entrepreneurship program, but I'm navigating over to here. Now, the first thing I want to do is to make sure we're not confused because it is a little bit confusing. So we have been and we will continue to offer over here on 4weekfunding.com a funding program. It's confusing because it talks about 4 weeks. The difference is this is not free. This is not free on this page. There's services that are provided. It is not free. A bunch of things are free, but it does cost to go through the 4-week funding. But in contrast, there is no cost. There is no cost now, later, ever on the entrepreneurship funding program. So let's talk about how the two work together. They're not repetitive, they're not duplicative, they're not competing against each other. Both are set up over a 4-week curriculum, so that is similar. And the topic for each of the 4 weeks is similar. But what we found, and I suspect that you've probably found this as well, there's a lot of small business owners that want to need funding, but in many cases, they don't know what it takes to become fundable. So there's a disconnect between what they want and what they qualify for. So this is pure hands-on education. So in the first week, what we're going to do is we're going to teach the participants about the business plan process. What is a business plan? I think we all kind of know what a business plan is, but we actually help them prepare key elements of the business plan as stated here. Business plans are more than just an academic exercise. They actually tell the lender, when the business plan is presented to the lender, it tells the lender what the business does, how much money it needs, what it's going to use it for, and so forth. So the business plan is very relevant. It also includes financial projections. Financial projections are very important because in most cases, our baseline cash flow, in other words, where we start, where we're at before we get funding, is often not enough to cover the expense of paying for the funding, because if it's debt, if it's a loan, we have to repay it back. Therefore, the financial projections play an incredibly important role so we can show, yes, with the injection of additional capital, our business is going to grow and we're going to be able to afford to pay it back. So week 1 is discussing the business plan and key elements. Well, how is that different than over here? Well, in week 1 here, we're actually using our software, the same software that we used when we worked at the SBA. Most of us that are here came from the SBA. And so we were developing business plans like machines all the time for small businesses. So the business plan software that we use here that's incorporated is not included here. So I guess the main difference that I'm wanting to convey, and we'll go through, is the tools and the resources are built in here, but it's impossible for us to do all of that for free. So instead, what we're recommending clients / participants / entrepreneurs do is let's first get educated, and I'll continue to discuss what we do during the 4 weeks. It's relevant, it's practical, it's needed. And then if they decide to move on to the 4-week business funding program, they'll be better prepared, they'll understand it better. But here, there's more of an application versus here, we're instructing, we're teaching. All right, so week 1, business plan. Now, when we're doing the free entrepreneurship funding program, it is set up on group Zoom sessions. And so if there's a registration that's necessary, which is here, real simple, again, it's free, there's no contract to sign. And then each week there is a session. If the participant misses the session, then they'll be sent the recording. So it's okay if they miss it, they're not disqualified. They'll also have an advisor that they're working with to make sure that they understand what was taught in a group session. So week 1 is about the business plan, which in fact matches what we do over here in the 4-week funding program. So again, this 100% free, this is not free. So also in week 1, if they're actually going through the 4-week funding, we're also going for funding. We actually go for the first round of capital called first tranche or seed capital. We have over 40 different lenders that are willing to extend offers with no hard inquiries to participants. Okay, so let's get back over to the entrepreneurship funding program. And I'm going to discuss the what, but afterwards, we're going to drill into how you can use this. If you're one of our distribution partners, I think you're going to be really excited about how we can apply this together. But let's go through the what before we talk about how we can take it out to the marketplace together. So week 2, we talk about business formation. So in other words, if we have a plan, we are going to need some sort of business entity, whether it be an LLC, a C Corp, S Corp, or what have you. So this is where we teach about that, the differences between the entity structures, the process of starting with an address, because you need a good address, then filing with the Secretary of State, getting the EIN, and then getting your bank account to create kind of that foundation. The difference of the educational module versus the implementation is here we actually have a grant that is providing the address for free. It's providing the filing with the Secretary of State free. So here is what we call the implementation versus here we're teaching the concepts. So then we get over to week 3, business credibility. And the easiest way to talk about business credibility would be to talk about the 3 C's. Many of us learned this in school, but I think you might be surprised. There's a lot of people out there that really don't know what the 3 C's means. And it means everything when it comes to how do we get the business to become fundable. It's based around the 3 C's: credit, collateral, and capacity. Capacity means the same as cash flow. Now, do all sources of capital require all 3 C's? Nope. Nope. There's some that do not require all 3 C's. But you have to have at least one of the 3 C's to get funding. So we teach about that here in week 3 of the free entrepreneurship program. That differs from the implementation program where we're actually transferring the collateral, actually building the credit, actually building the cash flow. So you can see the difference. Here, we are able to educate anyone for free, but it's logistically impossible to help everyone for free. So for those of you that are distribution partners, we believe that using the entrepreneurship funding program, the free resource, is the best way to start working with new prospects. But we'll come back to that in a minute. So then we get over to week 4, which is, of course, going to funding. That's the whole purpose of people enrolling in the funding program, is to prepare their business for funding. So that's where we prepare them for funding here. The difference is in the implementation program, we're actually taking them to funding, putting together the loan package. So I hope you can see the difference. Our primary goal in rolling out the free entrepreneurship funding program is to be able to help more people, because this is valuable, it's credible. And for those of you that are our distribution partners, I think that you could effectively use this to better educate your prospects in an organized, structured way, where many of them will say, okay, this makes sense. Now I need to implement. Can you help me implement? And the answer is, heck yes, we can help you implement through the 4-week funding program. So I see Steve has a question. So Steve's question is, can people still come directly to the 4-week funding program, or do they have to go through the free educational curriculum first? Now, people are welcome to come directly to the 4-week business funding program, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. We're going to get to some implementation strategies and best practices in just a moment. So this is a big step for us. For us now, we can work with you, those of you that are distribution partners, and we can help individuals and groups. So let's start thinking larger than just one by one. What if you were to go to a church or a trade association or a community college, any type of group? Now you and I together, we could teach this program to their members. So let's use an example that I think Greg had mentioned. Greg had mentioned going to a trade school. So let's say that it's a cosmetology trade school. So that trade school is training people to be cosmetologists. And I bet they do a really good job at that, how to fix people's hair and nails and skin, whatever they do. But they probably are not very good at preparing those graduates to go get funding to start their own shop. So what if you, Greg, went to the cosmetology schools in your area, or chambers of commerce, or churches, and together, Greg, you and I, we taught this curriculum. Now, if you want to be in front of the people, you can, but it adds a whole lot of logistical challenges to do in-person education than it does online. So my point is, those of you that are distribution partners, this is an incredibly valuable to go to organizations, groups, key influencers. You could go to a tax preparer, and I think this is something that Harold's been doing. Going to tax preparers, they're already preparing taxes for small business owners, right? So what now if you were able to offer this as a free resource to that tax preparer and their clients? So then we could set up a class, a 4-week class that would be specifically with you, Greg, and that organization. So it could be branded to them. Isn't that incredible? So what I want you to think about, those of you that are distribution partners, is not just how this can help individuals, which it can, but let's think larger. How can we go to key influencers, organizations, groups, entities, and then do a collaboration with them? They promote it out to their sphere of influence. The pastor can promote it to his congregation. The Chamber of Commerce director can promote it out to the Chamber of Commerce members. The library can promote it out to their community. And we can teach this. This is good. This is relevant. This is essentially, not quite, but it's essentially the same course that I taught at the community college, which was a credit earning course. So students had to enroll in college. They had to pay 3 credit hours to go through my class. Now that one was semester long. Here we're compressing it down to 4 weeks. But any of you that are distribution partners that's looking for that way to get in to key influencers, I believe this is it. As I've mentioned several times, here we're training them the what and the how. And then if they want the implementation assistance, then they can come over to the 4-week business funding program. So I want to talk about a slight change that we're making with this that's to your benefit. So historically, those of you who are distribution partners, when you enrolled someone in the 4-week business funding program, historically you made 5% of the client's capital raise. So they would go through the 4-week program, and then whether they got funding here in week 1, seed capital, or funding afterwards, then you were making 5%. And that's fair, but many of you have said, hey, I want to get paid up front. So that's what I'm about to share with you. Now, we're changing it so you can make $1,000 up front the day that people enroll in the 4-week funding program. And now you can make 10% of their capital raise. Do you have to pay something? Am I trying to sell you something? No and no to both of those. Here's how it would work. We can make you a white label partner at no cost. No cost. Not selling you anything, no cost. If you're an affiliate, you can opt in and be a white label partner, 0 cost. How does that work? Well, what will happen is we'll give you an editable agreement that matches the enrollment agreement, which is found here. So what I did is I went to 4-week funding, click the green button, should have told you that, and then it opens up the participation agreement. We will provide you an editable version of this participation agreement. You will remove our information and you'll put yours on. So it's called a white label partnership. Doesn't cost you anything. If you're an affiliate, you can be a white label partner for free. So what happens is you take the agreement, you remove our information off. So this would be gone. This would be gone. You would put your information instead. And then the way the pricing would work, the clients would then pay upfront $2,000, which we can help them with financing if they need. And we split that 50-50. We need at least $1,000 to cover our cost because we have to provide all these services. So we'll continue to do the work for you, but you can go out to the marketplace as what we call a white label partner, no cost to you, just need to be one of our affiliates. You'll get the editable agreement. You'll change it. You'll remove our information. You'll set the pricing up where the clients are paying $2,000 up front. Now you can make that less or more. We'll go through that in a moment. But instead of them paying, let's go down to the price page. Instead of them paying $1,000, like when they come to us directly, they'll pay $2,000. So the price is going up, so you can make $1,000 up front. Now you might say, well, that's horrible, right? Now the client's paying twice as much. Well, the grant that we received will still refund that in full. So yes, they'll pay a $2,000 refundable deposit instead of $1,000. That's a fact. That allows us to still get the $1,000 that we must have to cover our scope of services that we have to provide. But that puts $1,000 in your pocket up front. And then after the client goes through the process and completes it, they get the $2,000 back. So it's a refundable deposit. As far as the performance fee, you get to set the performance fee. Well, let's go back. So you can set what that upfront is, that refundable deposit. We know we need at least $1,000 or we're losing money on the scope of services we have to provide. So if you want to be a white label partner, which is free for any of you who are an affiliate, you can set the price on the front end, frankly, anything above $1,000. You make anything above $1,000 up to the $2,000 mark, then it's a 50-50 split. And that's really what it's intended to be. So you could go out to the market. We could go form lots of relationships, strategic relationships, use this educational curriculum to teach groups of people. And we can teach them online via Zoom. We would have classes that you're involved with. We'll teach it, so we'll do the heavy lifting, but you're involved with it. All of those prospects would be your prospects. It's very easy to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We've had as many as 100 people going through this class at a time as we were building it out. So then for free, we work with key influencers. You and I educate these groups of people over 4 weeks, and many of them will appreciate, well, I think most of them, if not all of them, will like the material that they learn. But my point is, many of them will realize that the value proposition here is incredibly valuable because these are things that they need. So here we're talking about the business plan. Here we're actually providing them the software as well as initial seed capital. In week 2, we talk about what's important and teach them, but here we actually provide it to them. We provide them a unique business address and we file with the Secretary of State for them for free. Week 3, we talk about the 3 C's. We teach them, which is credible, that's valuable. So what we did at the college, but then if they want to bump up with you, then they can actually get the collateral, they can get the cash flow. So this is the teaching of the material. This is the implementation. Now, this is not some sort of bait and switch. So if someone wants to come just through the 4-week program, they pay $0. They have no obligation to pay anything. They have no obligation to bump up. They can take that information, and I promise you, they'll be much better off. They will have learned what they needed to learn. But I think for what most of us, and I think you and I think alike in many ways, is teaching and educating is the best way to build a funnel of prospects, of participants. And so we build credibility, we build trust, we build value, and we have resources that are available to help them implement what they've learned. And they could come over here, enroll in the 4-week funding program. And then if you're a white label partner, which costs you nothing, then you can make $1,000 up front, which you might say, well, 1,000's not that big of a deal, but we need to start thinking bigger. I think that's where some of you are really limiting your success. You know, we should be teaching classes together that have at least 20. I'm not saying that's the minimum, but if we have at least 20 people per class, you might say, oh my God, where are we going to find the 20 people? This isn't about going and finding 20 individuals. You could, but that's kind of hard. What we want to do is go to key influencers, right? Churches, chambers, organizations, and so forth, tax preparers. So now they fill the classes up with at least 20. And our experience so far is about 90% of the people that go through the class will then turn around and enroll in the 4-week funding program, which you make $1,000 up front. So if we had a class of 20 people and 90% of them converted, that's 18 times 1,000. Now you just made 18,000. So if we could do this every month, we could have more than one class a month. We might have one for a church group. We might have one for the cosmetology school, might have another one for a tax preparer. So maybe we have 3 or 4 or 5 classes going on with key influencers at a time. That's fine. Now you can see how this can really add up. So now this allows those of you that are distribution partners to get paid up front. It's important to get paid up front as well as the revenue share from the capital raise. Let's look at it from the client's perspective. What's the pitch to them, if you will? They have an opportunity to go through a grant subsidized entrepreneurship funding program, and it's absolutely free to them. Free to them. No bait and switch, no pressure to switch. It's exactly as advertised. And again, it's good. It's so good. We used to teach this as a college course, and students had to enroll in the college as a community college, but they had to enroll in the college and pay 3 credit hours. So this is good, very good. And then if they want more assistance, then they can bump up, and you make $2,000 gross, 1,000 net each time someone bumps up. The way that we do that is we're going to provide you an editable version of the 4-week business funding program. You'll remove our information, you'll put yours. So they're actually contracting with you. You might say, well, why do we do that? If I'm an affiliate, I want to keep it simple. If you want to keep it simple as an affiliate, that's fine, but we couldn't do it this way because right now we have 427 of you on this morning. Well, each of you might have different price points, because what I said is you can charge anything above 1,000, right? We need at least 1,000 to cover our cost of implementation. So we can't have inconsistency in pricing, but if you wanted to charge at 2,000, I know some of you, I think Sierra wanted to charge at 2,500. There's a couple of you that are charging 5,000. It's up to you. But the only way that we can have variation in pricing is through what we call the white label partner, WLP. That's whereby you have the contract, it's under your branding. We provide the services. We're kind of your vendor in the back room. So we're still doing all the work. But if you don't want that, it's fine. You can continue to be an affiliate. You're provided a free landing page. You don't have to worry about taking an agreement and editing it. Instead, as an affiliate, you refer in and you continue to make that same 5% of each client's capital raise. So no one's taking anything away from you, but things have just gotten better. Let's summarize as we wrap up. How has it gotten better? Well, it's gotten better that now we have an educational curriculum that has no strings attached. Registration is very simple. Name, mobile number, email. We ask them why they want to enroll. They submit it, and then we'll assign them to a class. So this is going to be for general enrollments. But let's take someone like Herman. Herman might say, well, I want to go set up a class with a local church, faith-based organization. Great. Those individuals would have a different registration, so all of them would go into a class with that group. They would still go through the same curriculum. It'd be 100% free. And then for those that want additional assistance with implementation, they could sign up in this example with Herman for the 4-week program. Herman can charge what he wants. We split that 50-50 with the understanding we have to make at least 1,000 to cover our hard costs, and whatever the participant pays, it's refunded back to them after they complete it. All right, so we got a few questions. So PowerPoint, Herman's asking about, so that's right. So we developed a brief training video. So if we go back to the main page of 509 Pacific or 501c3, you scroll down right here, there's a training video that we sent out. And I don't think you'll hear the sound, but I'll just start it so you can see it. So yes, we created, and it's just a 2-page PowerPoint that just gives a highlight. And so this is really good in explaining what we do. So if you're going to be a white label partner, which costs you nothing, just need to be an affiliate, then yes, Herman, we'll give you an editable version of this, because this tells what we're doing together. You would remove our logo, you'd remove our information, you'd put your logo if you have one, and your information. So that's exactly right, Herman. So as a white label partner, you'll be going out under your branding. So the agreement, it has your information, not ours. The educational material has your information, not ours. All right, Herman asks also, are there any performance requirements? No. So in other words, he means quotas. So if you want to be a white label partner, you need to be an affiliate with us. Many of you are, but if not, we can get you set up to be an affiliate. And then now you just have the option. Do you want to approach it as a white label partner? If so, then we can provide you the editable agreement, the editable materials, and then that allows you to control pricing. But we'll still do the implementation. All right, so David asks, can we just stay at the affiliate? Yeah. So that's, I think you probably typed that before I went through it. So those of you that just want to stay as an affiliate, that's perfectly fine. Those of you that are affiliates, you still have access to the free entrepreneurship program. I believe that the best client is an educated client. The best prospect, better stated, is an educated prospect. So we really want to drive as many people in to the free entrepreneurship program as possible, because even if they don't want to proceed, we've fulfilled our goal of educating them, And then if they do proceed, now they're much more familiar with why all of this is relevant. Because really, when we're going through this, the 4-week funding, we're implementing. There's just not enough time to educate. So here is the educational side. Here is the implementation side. But as was asked earlier, can people do just the implementation without the education? Yes. Can people do the education without the implementation? Yes. Best case scenario, we work together. We start working with groups of people, not just 1, 2, 3 at a time, but let's get groups of people, work with key influencers, promote the free entrepreneurship program, educate groups of people, and our predictions are that 90% of these people will then want help implementing what they've learned. You're making 1,000 upfront each time. So if you're not making at least 10,000 a class, we're doing something wrong. That's assuming that we have 11 or 12 people per class. So with that being said, you just need to let us know, how would you like to implement? Charlotte is the affiliate manager. She'll continue to be the affiliate manager. You can reach out to her. You can reach out to us, but I'm excited. So in summary, wrapping it all up, as of today, August 26th, we're rolling out the free entrepreneurship funding program. Used to be a college course. It's real, it's credible, it's relevant, it's needed. It's absolutely needed. Now, if you have someone that says, hey, I don't need any of this, man, I'm beyond all this. I know what it takes to be fundable. I just need help funding, not a problem, right? So we're not going to force them to go through a remedial program if they don't need it. So, and I think that's Frederick's question. So if you have someone that just says, hey, man, I'm just ready to go to funding, I don't want to go through these programs, great. 4weekfunding.com, there's the link right here, bam. Click it, and we'll take them to funding today. We'll take them to funding immediately. But a lot of people, they don't have a fundable business. A lot of people don't even understand what it means to have a fundable business, thus the importance of this curriculum. What feedback do any of you have on this approach, kind of a 1-2 recommended approach? Let's go out and together, let's educate people. Let's educate lots of people. Let's educate groups of people by working with key influencers. Let's go out branding under your branding, under your business. We'll be the behind the scenes implementation team for your business. But let's go out and let's go teach lots of people, because predictably around 90% of the people that you and I teach will then enroll in the program. Questions, comments, concerns, anything that we didn't cover today? So it's a big deal. So when you're thinking about how do you go out and market, well, is it not easier to market something that's 100% free, that doesn't require a contract, it doesn't require cost? Of course it is. So we're still helping them with their problem. What's their problem? They need funding. So we're going to start by teaching them what it takes to have a fundable business. And then by doing that, just naturally, many of them will realize there's gaps, there's deficiencies that they have. And then very easily you can say, hey, no problem, we can help you with that too. And then they enroll in the 4-week funding program, which you monetize. Questions, comments, concerns on this approach? So Jeanette's asking about landing pages. So the landing pages that you have as an affiliate continue to work. Nothing's going to change. But we're encouraging, not requiring, those of you that are interested, become a white label partner. No cost. Used to be a cost for that, but we're waiving that. That will allow you to take our contract, remove our information, put your information on it. You go out to the marketplace, you control pricing. Ideally, we'll go to key influencers, get groups of people going through the funding. Can be taught in person, but typically it'll be taught online. And then from that, typically 90% of the people that you and I educate will then want the implementation help. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Otherwise, feel free to reach out to us. Let us know what we can do. You've got our phone number for the 501c3 here, 509 Pacific. You can also call us at our normal number for our for-profit arm. Let us know what we can do, but you've got the tools and resources now that we're out of excuses. As we look at September, if you're not generating an adult income by helping people solve their problems, then shame on you, because I believe that we've brought forth the resources needed so we can help everyone with free education, and predictably 9 out of 10 of them will decide to enroll in the 4-week funding, of which you're now making $1,000 up front each time. All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Let us know what we can do for you. Bye-bye.